Hello everyone, this is Angela and welcome to my channel, Angie the ENTJ. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notifications bell so you'll know whenever I upload any new content. Well, I said it 2 years ago and I wasn't alone when I said it. The Wiccans, the Norse, the Celts, the Druids, and probably every other genuine practitioner of ancient spiritualities, we are all saying the same things. I perform oracle readings, and all of them are in alignment, the ones that I perform. And in case you're listening and you don't know what an oracle is, view it like a telephone where you use, instead of a smartphone, you're using cards, coins, stick stones, or whatever is peculiar to the culture, to dial into an intelligence, to ask for that intelligence's perspective on the hidden aspects of a situation. It's like calling a hotline, but in a spiritual way, okay? So, like I was saying before, all of the oracles are in alignment and are giving clear responses. Additionally, people who practice different spiritualities that also involve interpreting signs and perform their own version of oracle readings from different parts of the world and so forth. All of these devices are in alignment. All of these oracles are in alignment. And the tarot aligns as well. This is how those of us spiritual people were reacting 2 years ago when they overturned Roe versus Wade. And it also applies to any other society that dismisses the importance of the feminine principle when it comes to governing the land and its people. Let's watch and I'll be back. They were down below protesting, and when they signed the bill overturning Roe versus Wade, the crows started flying counterclockwise around the building. And so according to them, this is a sign of reversal. This is a sign of something is about to be undone.
Okay, pagans, Wiccans, whatever your beliefs, the crows are flying counterclockwise in a circle around the Capitol building. Any mediums get a read off that? Because I know mine didn't look good.
Oh boy, the Supreme Court is screwed. Alright, for those of you that are not pagans, i.e. witches, druids, Wiccas, all sorts of paganry. If you see a bunch of crows doing that, that means change is about to cometh and someone's gonna die. It also indicates that the gods and goddesses are not happy with somebody, and they are coming to wreak some havoc. Yeah. Other times it's a good thing, but what's going on is a bad thing and a good thing at the same time. So, trust me.
Okay, I'm back. So the crow or the raven is associated within the Wiccan pantheon, I believe, with the Morrigan. These ancient energies, such as Sekhmet, the Morrigan, in Hindu, she's known as in the Hindu pantheon, she's known as Kali. Listen, they arrive on the scene. They begin to show up when the men double down in their ignorance and become unrelenting. In the Bible, from my own comedic perspective, Sekhmet's energy is the equivalent of Armageddon. These are the types of energies that will go for the jugular. So there's an opportunity for unsuitable males to change their ways. They can start to read their own Bible and become like Jonah did, confront the other men and tell them to mend their ways. However, if they don't, the next step is whatever you want to call it, but it will appear in the form of what ancients described it thousands of years ago as a corrective feminine energy. This is an energy that reacts. It goes for the jugular. It cannot be outmatched. And I see like everything from the women protesting wearing the hijab in Iran to other types of protests throughout the world. But the one where the women tore off their hijabs, that's a big one. That is Sekhmet's energy. That's just the beginning stage of Sekhmet's energy. Okay, I'm back. You see, messing with women to the point of exhaustion will lead to the rise of the dark feminine. This is a very harsh, brazen, and uncontrollable energy. It is sent from the universe, much like UV rays are sent to Earth from the universe, from the sun. WELP, this energy is sent from the universe and by the universe, by the way, if that makes sense. Just like too much sun will burn and too much moon, in the case of like a full moon, can affect people's blood pressures and their moods, can affect the tides in the ocean. Well, that energy from the moon and from the sun can have an impact on the planet, even though the sun is millions of miles away and the moon is hundreds of thousands of miles away. The dark feminine energy. Now, we see the impact of the sun on the planet, even though the sun has never sat on the planet. The dark feminine energy will come directly onto this planet, and it is an energy that will destroy anything within its path. So why am I saying this? Well, in today's story, the president of Iran, President Ibrahim Raisi, pictured here on the left, and Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian was unalived in a helicopter crash yesterday on May the 19th. Now, this is how it appears when the collective of women said no and meant it and demand change. And this is what happens when the collective of men writes it off as us being, I don't know, let's go down their list. We're being illogical, emotional, irrational, hysterical, and not good in math, right? And that's for the women. And you best believe they have some smoke for the men who are over here supporting us by calling them weak, lame, and simps, and so forth, right? So those who are on our side are spared the wrath of the dark feminine. However, those who are on the side of the corrupt masculine principle, including the women, hey, if I were you, I would stop testing the feminine. And no, I'm not saying this as a threat. I want to make sure that's very clear. What I am saying is the equivalent of telling a child not to touch a hot stove. That is not said as a threat. It is said as a way of helping the person to preserve their well-being and possibly their lives. But if they don't listen, well, here comes the screaming of the child that just touched that hot stove. And pay attention to what that small child does after they did what you told them not to do. What do? They run right back to the person who told them not to touch the hot stove, begging for their help to stop the pain. The pain they would have avoided if only they had listened. You see, we women have an inborn natural superpower where we can affect things without even lifting a finger. It will begin to happen around us in seemingly a supernatural way. People personify it as the feminine energy of karma. That is one of many of our powers. You see, when ish goes down with a wrongdoer, all we have to do is just sit back, watch, wait, pop our popcorn, and some way, somehow, that wrongdoer gets their just due in a way that you could not have even thought about. And when I say this, no, I'm not here to proselytize to anyone or get anyone to convert to what I do. I have a disclaimer in all of my videos that I do not proselytize on this channel. Listen, this is a safe space for all sensible people, including atheists. It's like I'm sharing my insight, my perspective, and you can call it whatever you wish, but at least I shared it in an effort to open your eyes to what is actually going on around you. These types of things are going to continue to happen, and it will not be long before that feminine energy begins to rampage globally. It's known as Sekhmet, Kali, the Morrigan. I think she may be known as Oya with the Yoruba and so forth. For those who have to look at this strictly from a scientific perspective, which, hey, that's perfectly fair and perfectly fine. What the ancients understood is there were certain situations that caused natural phenomena to occur. For instance, generally speaking, when there is abundance, there tends to be peace. However, aggression increases in all species and human beings when faced with scarcity and deprivation. So a leader will need to do whatever is necessary to ensure the abundance of resources in order for the society to operate peacefully. The next component is securing the resources and its people. Without proper security, it can cause a state of scarcity. And when that happens, there is warfare. And when women are placed into scarcity, there is Sekhmet. Before there was Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a bit outdated, there were the energies that were personified as gods and goddesses. For instance, it shows that the feminine, in this case represented by the woman, is like having access to water. Just like without water there is no civilization, the same principle applies to women. Without women, there is no civilization. So a society has to view the value of women in the same manner and through the same lens that they view the value of water as a source. Whenever the society devalues its water source, disrupting the water cycle, as well as the other ecology that it takes to keep it regenerated, the water will withdraw and go deep underground. Now, this can actually happen in nature because access to water, as we know, is becoming more and more of a challenge in places like the western part of the U.S., right? They've gone so far as to place beavers in the deserts in an effort to restore the land's ecology, to green the desert so that it can regenerate water sources and help with the water cycle. However, it can also apply to governing a society. The women will begin to withdraw, which is what we are seeing with the West 4B movement. The West 4B movement represents that. See, this happened naturally after years and years and years of societal abuse towards the feminine principle, primarily women. Now, the next thing that will happen when the water source dries up is a drought, and it will be like a desert. Same thing within the society. The feminine principle will begin to come for its offenders. And when I say the feminine principle, I am describing the principles that most women ascribe to, while also recognizing there are plenty of men on this side giving their support. That's what I see happening with the crashing of the Iranian presidential helicopter that took out the prime minister along with him. You see, the women have spoken. We have said it. We do not suffer through 9 months of pregnancy, then endure the life-threatening task of giving birth, as well as the life-threatening postpartum period after giving birth. Women do not suffer through having children hanging off of our boobs and using our bodies as their food source for years and years of our lives, slowly depriving us of nutrients. Some women lose teeth because of being so deprived of nutrients. Some women, their bone density decreases, hair falls out, all this kind of stuff. We do not suffer through this for years and years of our lives. We do not sacrifice our desires for years and years of our lives to center our children's development into becoming civilized human beings as an asset to the society. We don't go through all of that just so that someone from a corrupt masculine principle within the society to use them as target practice, to beat them upside their head the way that they beat Mahsa Amini upside her head for simply wearing a scarf too loosely, according to some misogynistic law that was written in a book a century or however many millennia ago. When the women say no, we mean it. And when the men, in this sense, the patriarchy, refuses to listen, these interesting coincidences will continue to happen. You see, this is why the patriarchy does not want us women or people who support us getting together and agreeing on things. They do not want you to know your power and what you are capable of naturally doing. So since the leaders of Iran refuse to heed to the demands of the women or the feminine principle when they tore off their hijabs, cut their hair, and burnt their scarves in a bonfire while dancing, well, you hit Mahsa Amini upside her head and unalived her and blamed it on a heart problem. Well, the dark feminine has hit the government of Iran upside their head and unalived them and moved them out of the way of the women. So women, just blame it on their heart problems, the way that they did it with Mahsa Amini. Listen, here's how this world works. If you make my mother grieve, soon your mother will grieve too. Fair is fair. That's how the dark feminine reacts. You see, the goal of leadership was never intended to be an opportunity for a man to stroke his ego at the expense of the citizens within the society. To be a leader is a form of a responsibility. It is a blessing. It is a compliment to the person who has shown the ability to be fair and equitable and to ensure that everyone benefits from the society that they're leading in a fair, balanced, and benevolent manner. Without people, there is no ruler. You cannot be a king without a kingdom. Blackistan is learning it too. That's all I have to say for now. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notification bell so that you'll know whenever I upload any new content. Take care until next time.